Hey gang, it's Will from Tested.
And it's Norm from Tested.
Norman Chan. It's my favorite time of year.
What's that?
It's new Surface time.
Oh. It's definitely an exciting time of year, although early in the year. And it's actually a reason to be excited about the Surface, not even Surface Pro line.
This is just the Surface. This is
just the Surface.
Traditionally, these have been the garbage surfaces.
Yes.
These
absolute
were
garbage. Rubbish.
Things you hated the first one so much that you destroyed it.
I did.
You broke the hinge right
kickstand.
off, popped it off.
Yes.
You're like,
no, snapped it.
Go right to hell, Surface RT.
Never
Norman
show that
Chan
footage
said.
ever. Unless you're a premium member. So Surface 3 just came out. This is, of course, Microsoft's hybrid computer.
Something's different, though.
Well, have you seen the Surface commercials?
No, I don't watch TV.
Okay, well, Microsoft, their tagline for this is that this is the tablet that can...
I was going to guess.
Okay.
Think different.
No, it's not.
Oh.
Unfortunately. It's the tablet that can replace your laptop. So in their mind, that these are tablets, like this is, for example, the Surface Pro 3,
okay,
and this is the Surface 3. These are tablets, tablet computers, that also function as laptops.
Okay.
In my mind, and I think the right way to approach this is that these are laptops that also have some tablet functionality.
I always look at them as laptops with optional keyboards, right?
Yeah,
I mean that's kind of the way it works.
You know, think about the way people use tablets. You know, for reading. These are pretty big tablets. Like this Surface Pro 3 is a 12-inch device. Even though it's ultrabook sized, even without the keyboard cover, this is big.
You're not going to hold it one-handed, tucked into the crook of your palm, unless you line it up just right.
It's like a two-hand device to watch video on, but it really is I think an ultrabook class PC that you can also, if you don't an optional keyboard, you can just use the touchscreen for web browsing.
I mean, this is the crux of our issue with early Surfaces, especially, is that they were too big for tablets. Kind of had other problems that made them bad laptops, and you were left with nothing. Now the Pro, though, has some distinguishing features that make it really interesting, like a full digitizer with pen and stylus and the whole thing.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite laptops of last year, partially because they did a good redesign with it. It has the N-Trig digitizer, pressure sensitive, with buttons and great shortcuts. Also, they redesigned the hinge on the Pro. This is I'll recap, where it's like as many degrees as you want. You can actually put it on the table and lay it down in this canvas mode.
I like that mode.
If I take off the keyboard, you could actually just draw on it and put a reasonable amount of pressure on it and draw as you would, and with pressure sensitivity. And in addition to that, they actually fixed the way the keyboard attaches to the Pro. So it attaches not only in this one point, but a second point as well. And that second point gives it an extra bit of stability.
It gives it the tilt that you need to have the keyboard at the right angle to type.
And the ridgeability where it feels secure. Now, you're obviously not going to be carrying it like you would, a traditional laptop.
Yeah, you're not going to grab it by the keyboard side.
But you're carrying it by the top, but you could put it in your lap or put it on an airplane tray. Now, Surface 1 and 2, not the Pros, were ARM devices, RT devices.
Which
ran Windows RT, which means it ran mostly, there was a fake desktop, but you couldn't run x86 applications. You couldn't run Photoshop. You couldn't run, Handbrake.
It was only apps from the Windows Store, basically.
The full screen Internet Explorer, full screen Chrome. That's all gone. The days of Windows RT are in the past.
I don't think you could run Chrome on the RT devices.
You can even run full screen.
I don't think Chrome ran at all.
Not even Chrome.
Yeah. It was Internet Explorer or bust.
Surface 3.
Dark times.
x86 device.
Oh.
Now this is it's a smaller device, which I think is actually a really good thing. But what's inside here is not a Broadwell processor. It's not a Core processor, not even a Core i3. It's not even a Core M processor.
What, is it like an 8088? What did they put in there?
It's a Cherry Trail processor, which is an Atom processor.
Okay, so Atom, if you haven't been paying attention for the last few years, the last time you heard a lot about Atom was probably Netbook or dawn of Chrome OS. They were not great processors then. How do they stack up now?
Yeah, they were low consumption power processors. They were cheap to make. They were pit against ARM processors, but ARM was getting much faster, much better, and iterating better. Atom has reached a point now where it shares more with the current architecture, the Broadwell architecture, than it does, especially on the graphics side, than it does with the old Atom processors. It retains it's low power consumption, but it's basically an even more scaled down version of the core processor.
Well, and something else has changed as well in the time from the dawn of the netbook era to now, which is that Windows has gotten a lot lighter.
Yep.
You know, netbooks originally launched in the Windows Vista timeframe when Windows was literally at its heaviest in terms of resource requirements and performance and stuff like that. Windows 8 and the upcoming Windows 10 are both tuned to be very lightweight and run much better on less capable processors like the Atom stuff.
So Surface 3, I had a Surface 2. I don't have it here today. This is actually lighter than the Surface 2.
Okay. So the ARM-based Surface 2.
The ARM-based Surface 2, which, again, rubbish. Lighter in it, 1.37 pounds as opposed to 1.5 pounds. It's still over a pound without the keyboard. Different aspect ratio display. So it's basically a miniature version of the Surface Pro 3.
So it's a 16 by 10 display?
3x2.
3x2, so it's like an iPad.
3x2, like an iPad.
Well, it's iPad 4x3.
4x3. iPad is 4x3.
Okay.
3x2, like your DSLR photos, let's say.
Okay.
The kickstand, Surface 2 had 2 positions. This doesn't have the fully articulated
The flat one?
kickstand. This one has 3 positions.
Oh.
1, which is, I think, too narrow. 2, which is okay as a laptop. And 3, which is, it's okay. I wish it went one step further, because I still wouldn't use this as my drawing canvas. It's too high an angle.
3 is like watch a movie on an airplane tray table.
Yes, without the keyboard.
Without the keyboard, yeah.
So I wish it one step further. If you want to use for drawing, I would say put the kickstand down and put something underneath it.
Can I make a crazy suggestion?
Yes.
Can you pop this guy off
Yes, you
and
may.
then fold it up under and
think-
put it under the back? Is that going to do what you want?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda. It's kinda an angle. No, it's still a little flat.
You're welcome, Microsoft.
Still, no,
That's not
no,
gonna work.
that's kind of what I want.
Okay.
But here's the big thing. It also now supports the Surface Pen.
So this is the thing that was missing from all of the ARM-based surfaces before. Is it now? Let's talk about the stylus. Is this the same stylus and digitizer that's on the Pro?
It is. It's Microsoft basically bought and licensed N-Trig's technology, and I really love the pen, what the pen can do. I use it basically as an alternate to the mouse. I love touchscreens, first of all. I love touchscreens on laptops, so
I'm becoming a convert. I've been using that HP Spectre for the last couple of weeks, and like, it is surprisingly useful to have the touchscreen on the laptop. I was shocked.
Let's lower the brightness a little bit.
Okay.
So if I'm typing on a laptop and I'm browsing the web, for example, I type a URL in, and then I actually browse with the touchscreen. This is how I browse the web. Or if I want to select things, I use this to select, or sometimes I move this around. Actually, I use it like a mouse all the time.
Are you using this like a mouse because the trackpad on the type keyboard sucks?
Yes, that's
Okay.
also one of the reasons. And plus, if I'm on an airplane, I don't have space for a mouse.
Right.
Of course, there's still no place to really put this. There's
Yeah.
a loop that you can slide in. I actually don't have that
On the side of the
on
keyboard?
the side of the keyboard, but I just keep it in my pocket.
It seems like an easy thing to lose.
Yeah.
This is an active stylus?
It is.
Are there batteries and stuff
There
in
are
it?
2 sets of batteries.
Okay.
There's a battery for the front, which enables it to have the N-Trig sensor, so you can actually, do this. You can right-click by hitting one of these 2 buttons.
Okay.
And then there's a battery in the back because it actually connects also with Bluetooth. And with Bluetooth, what you also get is the ability for shortcuts.
So it's got 2 separate sets of batteries in there? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, 2 separate sets of batteries.
What's the lag like when you're drawing?
So
Because I
I'll
know
show you.
active styluses we've used on like iPads have been kind of crappy.
So this is the best thing. If I have this on the go, hit the button once, OneNote launches.
Not too bad.
I have a blank page, and I can start typing notes. So,
Or start writing notes.
and I can of course change the pen width. Do you remember when Penny Arcade wrote that thing about how they were
Yeah.
using the Surface and
Well, Mike at Penny Arcade, who does the drawing for the comic, was a big fan of the Surface 1 and 2 Pros, got the 3 and didn't like a lot of the stuff that they changed about
yeah,
the
one of the
3.
things he didn't like about the 3 was, well, maybe a little too dark, was this button on the side. You notice that there's a Windows button. And
It's
you
the
use-
start button, yeah.
You use the start button to access that start menu, which is still there, or you can go back to desktop, or you can go to OneNote.
On the first few versions, that start button was on the bottom, but now the way the keyboard folds up, it blocks that start button, right?
So notice that as I'm writing, I can try to hit that start button, and it's not. So they actually fixed that.
So when you're using the stylus, the smart start button turns off. That is as it should be.
I have terrible cursive.
Can you write small? Can you write as small as you would on a piece of paper with this, or is it still?
I can write pretty small. I'm actually using the medium pen width right now.
Okay.
And with pass notes, and plus, of course, it's an infinite scroll. So
Right.
you can just pinch out. You can write big, zoom in,
then- okay.
and then draw out. WW. And it's pretty accurate. And there goes. See, notice that? It's thicker? That's
Yeah.
pressure sensitivity.
Okay. That's nice. Okay, you can draw. And the lag doesn't look bad. It looks much better than the lag, say, when we were testing that Adobe stylus for the iPad.
What you also notice is that this screen, 1920 by 1280, it is, while lower resolution, lower pixel resolution than the Surface.
Is it 1920 by 1280, 16 by 10?
1920 by 1200.
Oh, okay.
Is 16 by 10.
Okay, got it.
1920 by 1280 is
3 by 2.
3 by 2. This is a 12-inch screen, 2160, I believe. 2160 by 1440, also 3 by 2.
Okay.
Same pixel density, around the same pixel density.
Oh, okay.
It's just because it's a
just
smaller
bigger.
screen. I think that this screen, this size, after using this feels heavy. And I went to meetings with this and took notes like that
Yeah.
and thought it was okay. This is much better.
Has the keyboard or anything changed, or is it essentially the same keyboard just shrunk down?
It's essentially the same keyboard.
Okay.
So this 1.37 weight, oh my God, it's actually so much better.
Oh wow! Yeah, this is like iPad 2 or
Exactly.
iPad Retina size.
Right,
basically.
and if you're holding this and you have that, this is actually comfortable.
Here's the thing. In my experience, one of the reasons we didn't like that Adobe stylus for the iPad, because we're talking about this as comparison to the iPad. It's an iPad price range, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Is the iPad, even the big iPad, the Air, it's still not big enough to really draw on. Did you find that to be the case with this, or does the different aspect ratio work better?
I think the aspect ratio is definitely better than 16 by 9 or 16 by 10.
Okay.
I'm not an artist.
You're not a drawer.
I'm not a drawer,
Okay.
so I can't speak to how well the pressure sensitivity and how big this canvas is, how it compares to a Wacom tablet,
Mm-hmm.
a Cintiq. But for note taking, I thought it was fantastic.
Okay.
So performance, it is Cherry Trail. This is a 14 nanometer processor. I think that's also another really interesting thing about this, using Cherry Trail. It is less powerful than a Core i3. Mm-hmm. It is less powerful in most things than the Core M. Core M, of course, is what we found in Lenovo's Yoga Pro 3.
Yep.
It's what we've
in the
seen
MacBook.
in the MacBook 2015. It's also what was in the Asus UX 305.
Right.
But it's definitely sufficient for my day-to-day.
Does it have the throttling issues that you saw in Core M?
It does not have the throttling
Because it's
issues.
that much lower power, right?
Because it's 2 watts.
Wow.
So it's 2 watt TDP. With the model, it's the processor's in here, which is basically this tiny SoC, has 1.6 gigahertz, goes up to, I believe, 2.4.
Okay.
So it doesn't throttle like the Asus does in Photoshop.
But like, even if you have a bunch of Chrome tabs open, stuff like that, it's all
Yeah.
fine. And you are just to be clear, you are a bad person in terms of the number of Chrome tabs that you leave open at any
Yep.
given time.
Yep.
No problem with that.
No problem with that at all.
That's awesome.
Now, that's also because I have the upgraded version. Here are the bottlenecks.
Okay.
Now, there are obviously natural bottlenecks with this processor.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you one example. I can load up Windows Media Player, and here's a 1080p video. It's the Star Wars trailer. It plays just fine, right? You
Yeah.
see the frame rate just fine.
That looks great.
That's just fine. Now, if I throw in a 4K video,
Well, so it's doing two things here because it's scaling that video down and it's trying to play a ton of data.
notice
Yeah, it's kind of chunky.
that's kind of chunky.
Is Windows Media Player GPU accelerated these days, or not so much?
That's exactly why it's slow. So
Okay.
basically, if you want to, sorry.
Also, I didn't know anybody used Windows Media Player
I
anymore.
love Windows Media Player.
VLC for life, man.
If you open this in the default Windows Player,
Yeah.
you notice
Everything's
it's optimized.
cool.
It's optimized. for
Okay,
that.
so you're not getting GPU acceleration
Yeah.
with. Okay.
Now, Cherry Trail does have it's a scaled down version of the GPU. It's using the modern the Generation 8, I believe, Intel integrated graphics.
Okay.
Fewer execution units than what you find in the Broadwell. So this is not for games.
Okay.
Definitely not for games, but it does have built-in H.264 decode and encode, and a bunch of JPEG encode and stuff like that as well.
Can you play threes on it?
I bet you could play 3s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But going back to where the bottlenecks are, RAM is
Yeah.
where a bottleneck is.
In terms of what they're selling, or in terms
of what they're selling.
Okay, so what's the base model first?
The base model is 2 gigs of RAM.
Okay.
It's DDR3, I believe 1600, and 64 gigs of storage.
Okay.
Now the 64 gigs of storage ties back into their marketing in the very beginning, the tablet that can replace your laptop. If
Yeah.
you told someone, here's a tablet with 64 gigs of storage, you'd think that's plenty. That's great. It's good.
That's what I have my iPad. It's fabulous. I never have to worry about storage.
If you tell someone, here's a laptop with 64 gigs of storage,
I'm going to throw it square in the trash because it's obviously garbage.
it's not enough. Now there is micro SD expansion on here, so you can expand it. But the upgrade, you pay $100 more, you get 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gig storage. That's what this model is.
Okay.
Of the 128 gigs, really it's 110 in the disk drive. Of that, about 10 is used for OS, so you get like 95 gigs of actual user
I mean, that's usable. Like, if you want to put a movie or two on there for the airplane, even if it's a great big high def movie, you'll have plenty of room left over for your stuff.
I'm not worried about storage. It's really the RAM that's the issue. If you want to use it as a real laptop, I wish they offered 64 gigs with. I wish 4 gigs of RAM was the default, basically.
Have you tried anything that's even slightly CPU intensive, like Lightroom and stuff like that?
Photoshop. Which is multi-core intensive.
Yeah.
Ran benchmarks with this against the Asus, against the MacBook, and real core PC. Not the slowest. The Asus was the slowest.
Interesting.
Because it throttled.
Okay.
Throttling over time, and this does not get warm.
That's amazing. So it seems like it seems like this is the clear future for the fanless PC, assuming they can keep jacking the performance up. So you would recommend the upgraded version if you're buying this, probably, right?
I don't think I'd recommend buying it because it costs that much. But let's talk about the other things as well before making recommendations. So keyboard, as we alluded to earlier, it has that same new keyboard design as Surface Pro, the 2 contact points. This is the Surface Pro one. You can see the Surface Pro is wider because it's made for that 12-inch, so you can't use the same one. But the difference really is in the edge here.
Are you sure you can't use the same one?
You can.
I mean, it may not fold over.
Let's see.
Plug it in. Let's see.
Let's see. Oh, it's a strong magnet.
I like that blue color way better than the purple color.
Oh, you can. No, see, that's not sticking.
Does it detect it?
It does detect it.
See, there you go. Look, we just saved you $100.
All right, $130.
$130? So that's the most expensive keyboard in the world.
It connects, but it doesn't give you the second connection point.
We built $250 keyboards 2 weeks ago. I was joking.
See, this one has the magnet.
Yeah.
Backlit keyboard. I like the keyboard.
Okay.
It's
like
the
typing feels good?
Typing feels good.
Better or worse than the MacBook?
Better than the MacBook.
I do not find that hard to believe.
Those butterfly keys on the MacBook, rubbish.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, this trackpad, not only too small, but it kind of is not smooth.
It's kind of crappy. Yeah. Can you does it click at all, or is it just touch?
It clicks. It has the right click and left click. I mean,
but it's right click, left click. You can't do the 1 finger, 2 finger thing. No. Like, that's the thing. Of all the things that I don't like about
you can tap twice.
Windows trackpads, the 2 finger click versus 1 finger click versus having zones makes me crazy.
And look, it doesn't even have the Windows 8 swiping from the side.
Yeah, that's sad.
You have to do it on the screen.
Okay.
But of course, I love the touchscreen. So that's why I don't even use this. I type.
Can you turn it off?
I don't think you can turn it off.
Okay.
And then I use the pen as well.
Okay. What about ports? Let's talk about ports.
All right. One of the benefits of this using a full SoC is that it actually has a lot of ports. You have DisplayPort, which goes up to 4K 30.60.
Okay. So when you plug that into your 4K monitor, you got 4K 30?
4K 30, which I would not recommend using.
No.
This is really optimized for putting into like a 1080p monitor. USB 3.
Okay.
And then that's that's power. That's micro USB. So here's another difference.
Wait, you charge it off micro USB?
You charge it off micro USB.
How big is the battery in this thing?
I don't know the capacity, but it takes a long time to charge. You notice that on the Surface Pro, it's a proprietary charger.
Yeah, it's their flat magnet thing, right?
Boo, proprietary charger. I like that this is micro USB, but it does take a little while to charge. You, of course, have nothing on the other side. That's just the lip. And then if you flip it open, your micro SD card
slot.
right there. Now, if you want more USB ports, because who wants a laptop with just one USB
I like
port?
a lot of USB ports on my laptop. Do they still have the USB port on the power brick or no?
They don't, I believe.
No, you have the power brick right there. Can you see it?
This is
because it's just
micro. It's just micro USB.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I guess you can plug a
hub
onto it. They sell a dock. Now, the only reason I'm mentioning the dock is that they sent it, and I want to let you know it's out there. I wouldn't recommend buying it because this is not a powerful enough computer where I think you warrant spending $200 on a dock.
Yeah, no, that seems like
But the dock does plug in power and USB, slaps in, and then the back you get Ethernet, 2 USB 2.0, 2 USB 3.0, DisplayPort, and a dedicated power cable.
Is there an HDMI back there too?
I think it's just DisplayPort.
Oh, it's full-size DisplayPort.
Yeah.
Or is it mini? I can't.
So they want to sell this for enterprise markets.
Like this is a Salesforce machine, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're a salesperson, you're on the road.
Right.
This seems like the kind of thing that your IT department might hand you and be like, "Good luck."
If this was Core M or Core i3, I think it'd make more sense to have that dock. It definitely makes more sense to have the dock on the Surface Pro 3.
Just because it's a more capable machine.
Because it's a more capable machine. But this I don't see as a computer that I would connect and use a full screen and 2 screens and do tons of stuff with.
What's the battery life?
Good, actually. A lot of that's because of the Cherry Trail processor. So web browsing, Microsoft I think claimed like 8 hours web browsing. I got 7.5 hours.
That's pretty good.
Medium brightness. Video playback a lot longer. So local video playback, I believe I got 8 hours of local.
With Wi-Fi on and all that?
With Wi-Fi on, or actually Wi-Fi off.
Oh, okay.
That's just...
You're on the airplane, you're watching movies flying to Japan.
And if you want to stream from YouTube, about 6 hours.
Okay, I mean that's respectable for the price range that we're in.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about pricing, because this is where I think the whole thing breaks down.
Yep, absolutely. So $500 for 2 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, which if you buy that, it's you could do stuff with it. If you have your own Bluetooth keyboard, you don't get the keyboard, you don't get the pen.
Wait, what?
Just this.
You don't get the keyboard? It's a tablet. It's also my laptop. My laptop has a keyboard.
If you want to buy the keyboard, well, first of all, if you want to pay $100 more, you get double the storage, which blah blah blah, because you have the micro SD card.
Yeah.
But you get more RAM.
That seems important.
That is important.
And a little bit faster CPU?
Nope.
No CPU bump. Okay.
I wish that $500 gave you 4 gigs of RAM. That would make it. I wish there wasn't that upsell.
Yeah. 100. Did you try this with the SD card? How did the SD card?
SD card is perfect for media, perfect for photos and media.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the 95 or so gigs of use here, enough for all your applications.
Yeah.
Keyboard is where it gets a little ridiculous. $130.
That's bananas
for the keyboard.
I can get a really nice keyboard for $130. Yeah. Mechanical switches, the whole deal.
Right. A lot of it's because they put a lot of engineering in it. It has a backlight. Sell me the non-backlit version, for half the price.
I mean, here's the thing. I wouldn't object to the $130 if that trackpad was a best-in-class trackpad.
Or if it included this.
Wait, it doesn't come with the pen?
No, pen's $50.
Wait, what? Okay, so you start out at $500 or start out at $600?
I would start out at $600.
Okay, so you start out at $600. You add $130 for the keyboard. That's $730
plus
$780
plus tax.
And we're looking at the same processor that's in like a $300 Chromebook.
Yes.
Why on earth would anybody buy this?
That they shouldn't. They shouldn't buy it at the price. What I would hope. And I do love the size. I love the form factor. I think that with all the accessories, with the pen and with the keyboard, it is very capable. If I could get all this for $600,
that seems reasonable.
That's fantastic.
I mean, because let's break it down. Because the starting point for the iPad Air, which is a tablet that is not a laptop, is $500. Yes. You can get a Microsoft keyboard that is markedly better in every way than this one for $50.
Yep.
That has a little stand for the iPad. You can put it in, type like a champ. I use that all the time.
Yeah.
$50, $550, you're out. And then you can buy a Cosmonaut non-pressure sensitive stylus or the paper stylus or whatever.
You can make two. I mean, but you're still, I mean, they're different computers. Again, that's a tablet that you're trying to use as a laptop. This, I think, is a laptop that you could also use as a tablet.
So do you think the more fair comparison is to something like a Chromebook?
I think more fair. This is
limited laptop
between a Chromebook and the Asus UX305.
How much was the UX305?
$700.
Yeah, I mean, the UX305 seems like a much better, more capable machine. This is what always comes down to with these things.
That one's a bigger machine, heavier,
that's
and
true.
Doesn't have a touchscreen. The screen here is beautiful. I think it's a sweet point for resolution.
It's an IPS LCD?
IPS, incredible color accuracy.
Yeah.
Gets bright. The the industrial design of this is much better than the Asus.
That's absolutely true.
But the Asus has, theoretically a faster and short burst processor, Core M.
Yeah.
More RAM, more storage. Storage here also limiting. Interior storage is eMMC. It's not SSD, so it's on benchmarks, storage benchmarks.
Oh.
Much slower than other computers.
That's because the chipsets don't support the
I think
PCI
it's because it's
stuff
what they
yet.
put in. It's what they put.
Yeah.
It's not even PCI Express. It's not even.
It's not even M2 or one of those.
No,
okay. Wow.
It's basically like a card in there.
Is the storage soldered onto this thing? Could you take it apart conceivably and replace
don't think
storage
so.
yourself? Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to take this part anyway. I think that they got everything right except the pricing. They got the form factor right.
Yeah.
They got the putting on the pen right. The only thing in terms of the form I wish they would do is add one more degree back.
Yeah.
But I think that's.
Well, if you press down hard enough, you'll get that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. I think the keyboard is great. I think that,
Well, the keyboard itself is great. The touchpad is still bad.
yeah, but that's replaced with this. Weight is fine, build is fine. It's just the pricing. It's too expensive.
It seems like by the time Dad's in grad season hits at the end of summer, you'll see bundles for this with the keyboard and the whole thing at a lesser price, which changes the dynamics.
Yeah. So weight.
Don't pay full price for this.
Never pay full price for this. Look for a bundle if you can get the keyboard, the Surface with the 4 gigs of RAM, and the pen. $650 after tax. That's a great deal. Otherwise, $800, no way.
There you have it.
Surface 3. I think you did a great job, Microsoft, in making the trade-offs. You're just charging too much for it.
Yeah, there we go. We'll have more stuff untested real soon. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.
Bye.